Hey guys, how's it going? This is Jeff. So today I'm making a video to follow up the controversial subject of universal basic income. You know, they've proposed a universal basic income for Hawaii, and I did a video. If you haven't already seen it, I'll put a link in the comments below, where I talked about why I didn't think universal basic income was a great idea. I've had days where I thought it was a great idea. I've had days where I thought it was not such a great idea. I guess it just depends on my perception of what is going on, and also who's influencing my perceptions. Also, how susceptible I am, how needy I am of the universal basic income. So just let's kick it off like this. So basically, there was a little bit of confusion, I think, for people about what exactly basic income is. A basic income is a periodic cash payment unconditionally delivered to all on an individual basis without means test or work requirement. The notion that's being passed around is about $1,000 to $1,500 at the end of every single month that will be deposited into people's accounts. Periodic, it is a paid at regular intervals for every month, not as one-off grant. Cash payment, it is paid an appropriate medium of exchange, allowing those who receive it to decide what they spend it on. It's not therefore paid either in kind, such as food or services, or in vouchers dedicated to a specific use individual. It is paid on an individual basis and not, for instance, to households. So if you're married, you and your wife will both get $1,500 if that's what the UBI is. It is paid without requirement to work or demonstrate willingness to work. It is paid to all without means test, meaning if you're a person on the street or if you're a multi-billionaire, you all still get it. It's not, there's no circumstances that, play into factor here. So if you make $1 million a month, you'll still get it. If you make $0 a month, you'll still get it. And that's mostly done because they don't want any controversy, so they just give it blanket right across the board. So here's the thing. So I think there's legitimate argument to be made on both sides. The side that is for it says, that would be fantastic to get rid of the stress in my life, to not have to deal with this burden of if my bills are going to be paid, stuff like that. Just taking that load off the back. Another reason why people are really for it, and this is basically the main reason, is supposedly in the next 5 to 20 years, I say 5 to 20 because no one knows how long it'll take for robots to take jobs such as pretty much every industry could potentially be at risk, whether it be the guy who makes automobile parts, or the person who sells real estate, actors. I mean, supposedly everyone who works as a laborer is going to be potentially affected by this. So Silicone Valley, the force behind the automation, the robots, the idea that robots will be smart enough to be able to do basic tasks. I mean, it could even get to a point where every household has a robot that basically can be programmed to fix whatever in their house. I mean, everyone could own a robot. Maybe you just turn it on, you say, "Go fix my toilet." Hey, robot, go. I mean, we're talking major thought here. We're being creative with what the potential is, but I mean, it could be, "Hey, robot, go to Walmart and pick me up a toilet seat for the one that's broken, come home and install it." "Hey, robot, go shopping at Safeway and get food, prepare food for a 3-year-old. I mean, this is the extreme potential, but from what the extreme potential appears to be, not so extreme and completely possible. It's kind of like, I want to call it 3D. There's a, what is it? 3D imagery? well, there's actually something that they're creating where it's a tool. I forgot the name of it, but it will be able to basically create anything. I mean, it just it has the once you upload the blueprint for how to make it, it can manufacture it, and it's supposed to be really incredible. And here's the thing: so technology, so the internet gave us globalization, right? Which opened pathways for people in India, Philippines to get jobs, and other developing countries to get jobs. And those jobs are currently held by people in these developing countries, and they've acquired some wealth. China's acquired a great deal of wealth off manufacturing and production. But the thing is, that could all come to a screeching halt if robots start taking over those roles of manufacturing Apple phones, or computers, or the desk, a chair, or whatever. Everything that's manufactured in China could eventually go away. So their renaissance, their boom could come to an end. The call center boom in Philippines and India could come to an end. So this is where the Silicon Valley says, look, robots are coming for your jobs. We're designing this artificial intelligence that's going to do these things, that is going to basically surpass human consciousness and human intelligence with a whole lot more accuracy. And because that's going to happen, we're just going to have to pay people $1,500 because layoffs are going to happen on a mass scale. So this is pretty much the idea behind why universal income has become the next big thing for Silicon Valley. Why free money for everyone is Silicon Valley's next big idea. Imagine for a moment having $1,500 in your bank account at the end of the month. $1,500 more than you actually earned. It's not a bank error. This money is yours. No strings attached. You can travel, pay down payments, offer a relative who needs help. Now imagine that $1,500 arrived every month. Would you put it towards a new car, take a nicer usual vacation? What would you do with that money? Okay, so this is just basically money that's being offered to supplement money that you might not have anymore because you might be unemployed or unable to do the job that you were previously doing as a laborer. I mean, like I said, it could get to the point where robots are doing all the construction. Right now, if you go to a construction site, you've got humans there, right? But it could be you're telling robots, okay, we're going to go, wire floor number 15 on Trump Tower, let's just use that example, or CNN Tower, or something like that. They're building a tower, so they'll just have a workforce of all robots that are, masons, plumbers, drywall, carpenters. This is the direction we're going. So if you're a laborer, your job might not be safe. Basically, it's kind of going in the direction where everyone needs to become a CEO of a artificial intelligence company. And maybe, I mean, to say that all jobs are going to go away, obviously not. I mean, you're still going to want human interaction in a lot of things. And I don't know that, I don't know. I personally do not know, but that's the warning that's coming out of Silicon Valley about why universal basic income is going to be needed, is because no job's basically safe if you're a laborer. Now, the people who say that universal basic income is not a good idea, okay, so I'm one of those people who can go either way. Okay, I can say it's a good idea. I could say here's why it's not. I mean, I guess you could say I'm pragmatic. I'm taking the idea that the grass is always greener on the other side. I've had this notion before, and then I realized when I got to the grass on the other side, I was like, well, the grass on the other side is pretty nice too. And then I don't know, it's kind of like some of you want to move to Hawaii, you move here for a year, and then you're like, well, I guess California wasn't so bad after all, and you go back, right? So, in this case, you're like, oh yeah, I would love to not have to work. I would just love that to have nothing but free time. Then when you get nothing but free time, you're like, whoa, 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 I'm bored. You know, this is what ends up happening to some people. Some people who play video games all day, uh, they just could, I guess, do that for the rest of their life. I mean, some people I know who've played World of Warcraft for years, and when World of Warcraft becomes boring, they play a new one, and they'll spend day in day out doing that. I guess that's what people would want to do. So, the people who don't want to do that and they like to work with their hands, or they're just hardwired that way, because so there's going to be a whole generation of people who are used to working with their hands. Maybe they're carpenters right now. You take that away from them, what are they going to do? They're going to go stir crazy. The people who play on the internet and could see themselves doing that for 16 hours are not the same type of people as these people who are used to working with their hands. So you've definitely got a dilemma on your hands with this renaissance that's coming about, where the idea of robots taking over majority of the labor tasks, basically a labor force of robots taken away from human labor. What are people going to do with their free time? Is everyone just going to play on the internet? Is everyone just going to lounge around the house and watch TV? I mean, if you got a robot who mows your lawn, who's going to mow your, I mean, that might be something you do on a Saturday. Are we just going to, or are we going to just have so much free time, everyone's just going to start traveling around, who knows? We don't really know. But we do know that one thing's for sure: artificial intelligence, robots, it's supposed to be growing in the next 5 years to a level that's we're not even going to be able to recognize our society as it was last decade. So over the span of the next decade, things are going to change so much that you're not even going to recognize society. People are calling it a renaissance of sorts. So we're going to have to also get really creative with what we call entertainment, what we call purpose, and all that. I get it. I've seen the comments on my videos where a lot of people are like, who needs purpose? Like, I've had a couple people, and I could probably read what they said, but not to put anyone on the spot, but I've definitely read the comments. They think I'm a blooming moron, a dimwit, because I don't support universal basic income, and that I don't get the big picture and all that. So like here's one comment that came in. Let's see here. Okay, I like your channel, but you're acting as if people will have no motivation to work and be productive if they don't have a fear of homelessness and starvation, which is not true. A basic income will only cover the bare necessities and not much else, which leaves people plenty of motivation for the finer things in life, such as cars, travel, computers, the latest phones and gadgets. Another plus is, so he was saying some nice things, but I've had some real here's a real champion guy. He says he points to a point in my video. He says, "Yes, I would, you effing idiot." Cool, thanks, man. Let me translate that for you. See, he's assuming the role of a genius. In other words, you don't want people to have stress, so you think it makes all the sense in the world for me to go to work every effing day to a job I hate so that I can pay bills and not be homeless. That makes sense to you. Okay, so fair enough. Now so he cusses a lot. Every time he cussed, I felt like the room was shaking around me, because I was like, okay, he sounds pretty angry. In this case, do I think that, so he hates his job, and he is in support of universal basic income because he would prefer not to have the stress or worry about having to pay bills and be homeless. Fair enough. He goes on to say in another comment, he says, why? You mentioned, but you never answer. What is it that socialism sucks? What is it with people who think that socialists never invented anything? What the F is wrong with you? I want you to pay me money for watching your stupid A video now. 12 minutes I'll never get back now. So obviously this individual is very entitled. He feels as though, or he or she feels as though they are the only one with the answer. So we're just going through some of these comments. So let's see some other people. Obviously this is why I'm making this video, in a follow-up to some of the comments. There was definitely some more logical comments, like one that came from John Fernquest. Won't make any difference if rents are so high. So he's saying if rent's high, it's high. No matter what your universal basic income will be. We'll have to go to camp out at the Nepali coast or on the lava flow just to make sure you are the one writing and running the AI programs. He's saying make sure you're the one writing the AI programs. Make sure you're that person, because if you're not, who knows? So John's always making sense with his comments. Black Crow Walking, he says there are always conditions when the government says they are going to provide a service to you. Personally, I would like to be left alone. They will find a way to reduce your UBI, I promise you that. So he's not so convinced that UBI is a solution, because, you know, they might take it away or lower it or figure out a way to get you some other way, right? Here's one. Let's see. I really disagree with you on the subject. Are you familiar with time travels of Al Bielek, or his and many others who have been involved in Montauk project as a minimum? AI time traveled both back and forth, time and forward in time, like the 2700, where there was no money. People worked just to contribute but didn't have to. Do you remember Star Trek? There was the need for money. Look at the possibilities. Open your mind. Study Unarius. I know you have any idea of any of these great pearls of infinite price. Study these issues and make another video, okay? The comment was fairly direct in insisting that I open my mind. So I said, okay, I can open my mind to this idea. This is where I'm making this new video. Most people hate their jobs. They don't fulfill them. They just make them feel like slaves. So a lot of people are really big on robots coming in and taking all the crap jobs away, right? Like, I guess if you don't like being a janitor and you're a janitor cleaning the bathrooms, you know, you might be thrilled to hear that someone else is going to do that, and you're still going to make the same amount of money. Here's one. Yep, I agree. Nothing in life is free. Someone has to pay for it on some level. I believe this world is what you make of it. If you don't offer anything, don't expect anything in return. So obviously not everyone's coming at me with, you know, two guns drew, you know. Some people, oh, here's another one. Great video, Jeff. So I've been on this video, I'm being complimented and I'm being called an effing idiot. It's interesting. I enjoy I enjoy everything. Here's Mark says, I've never been bored. Oh, another nice one. What an excellent video. Coming trying times, things to be really looked at, and words about the gentrifiers who occupy Hawaii. Your video and thoughts. Yes, I feel the same. Free is we. Here's one. That's going to ruin Hawaii. Who the F put these idiots in power? Excellent video. This should be on like the TED Talk. You're right on topic. So, I mean, like I said, I mean, I'm getting people who are, you know, people are all over the board here with this universal basic income. So I'm, you know, kind of taking this video down that path. Here was one conversation I had with somebody. They said, so everyone should become a pro football player depending on how good you play, rich, great life, nothing, die in the street. That's what he's saying. The point of basic income is to say that even if you suck at football, you won't die. You won't be rich and famous in playing NFL, but you'll have security. So he's saying no matter what you do, you know, you'll still have security, and that's what he really likes about it. He went on to say that he said you have a pessimistic view about people. You think that money is the only possible pressure to make them work. It is false. And anyway, UBI does not take away money as an incentive of work. What UBI does is taking away the obligation to have any job to live. You also say that people need a job to feel good every day, but I completely agree with you. And also when you state that we should have responsibility, it is also essential part of social life and personal identity. But do you forget that any job does not provide that? Not any job is fulfilling, gives you responsibility, and lots of jobs are very bad for mental health. So many people kill themselves because of their job. We need good jobs that are good for people money-wise and health-wise. The best way to create jobs is to let people do what they want, because a person knows, I know, even pot smokers have this drive you speak about to do something with their life. They just don't know if they can because they are obsessed with money and the obligation to have any job. Remove the pressure of money and people will work really hard for something that they want to. For some it will be unpaid work, for others it will be paid jobs, because money will still be a factor to improve your life with a new car, a bigger house, vacations, and in my humble opinion, for me it will be writing books and organizing comedy evenings like open mics. I cannot do it if I'm obsessed with money. So he's saying that this UBI will free him up to do other passions that he enjoys that can add value to society. Good point. Okay. And I said, I hear you on that. So I responded. I said, I hear you. I'm on the fence with UBI. In a utopia, UBI is perfect and awesome, but because of my perception of how I have seen general population abuse welfare food stamps, I would say that enabling these abuses any further would not be a righteous undertaking. Maybe if you said in order to qualify for UBI, you must take a drug test and show that you are also working, contributing to society, then this could give a social discipline that would have a noble attribute. Here in Hawaii, I've seen it and experienced what free money does to the community. Similar to what I've seen on Indian reservations where casino money is passed out to tribal members. Okay, yeah, I did say that. I seen that. I lived in California. I used to go to the casino and I'd drive down, and it was known that it's not a safe place to be. And they would have very nice things, but they weren't taking care of them. And every time I would ask, why would you not take care of your Humvee? Like they'd have an H4, and it would just be a flat tire just sitting on the garage with the garage door like this. And almost every house was like that. And people said it's because they don't have to work; they just get drunk and do this and that. Obviously not all of them, but I mean, if you go to an Indian reservation, you'd see that issue. And they were loaded with cash because people would be losing a lot of money at that casino. And this was more than just one Indian reservation where people were not working, just collecting what is basically a universal basic income. And as I was saying, I've seen it also in Hawaii where people, they'll sell their food stamps so they can get some alcohol and booze, and it's like they're bored. So what are they going to do? They're just going to do drugs and drink. You think I'm lying? You obviously have not been out there. If you think that I'm blowing smoke here, come on out. Come on out. Go hang out with these folks that do this. Okay. So I know a lot of you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, then you've probably been living under a rock, because I know plenty of people who give free money who trade food stamps for drugs, trade food stamps for alcohol money, and also, even some people who have kids just to collect more payments from the state. Yeah, come on, guys. Can you blame them? I'm not going to comment on that, but he said that how when I was younger I would see rich children who would take their money so I'm talking about how rich kids who had it all would take their parents' money that they would get and go buy drugs with it, and eventually buy everyone the drugs. And yeah, I grew up in a place where there was rich kids. I didn't necessarily have I wasn't a rich kid because my dad was a construction man and my mom was she worked at a grocery store. So obviously, I mean, we didn't have multi-millions or, you know, but I went to school in an area close to where kids would have, you know, they'd get a brand new Mercedes, and those kids were the ones who would have the most friends, and they would be into the drug scene half the time. Not all of them. Some of them stayed in the straight and narrow, but a lot of them, when they had big money, man, everyone was getting any drug at those parties, especially if they were high and they had just gotten $100 from their mom or whatever. Not a lot of money, but back in those days, you know, back in the 90s, $100 was a lot of money. He said, I do not agree with you because I've had personal experience, experimental evidence, even if experiments of UBI are often scientifically stupid, people do not take drugs because they have money, because they can, or lazy, or because they have nothing else to do. People take drugs because they are in pain, physical or mental pain and stress. And pain, and creating pain, there is more economic pressure on people in the U.S., so there's more pain and more opiates and people on an OD. Okay, I said, okay, I hear you. But explain this. Why do millionaire celebrities, rock stars, or children with lots of money choose to do drugs, even though they have money that many people could ever imagine? He didn't respond to that. I was hoping he was. But what I was asking was, okay, if that theory is correct, why do many celebrities have addictions? I mean, you're hearing about Paris Hilton, Lindsay Lohan, you know, what's her name? Miley Cyrus, you know, people who, even, you know, Robin Williams. I mean, everyone misses Robin Williams, but I mean, what happened to him? He had the dream life, right? You know, why would he have to do something like that? Was it because he didn't have enough money, or what else was going on? These are the things that make me look beyond those comments. And it's sad. It is sad. I think that the mental health issue, who knows what it is, but it could very well have to do with our diet or something. I mean, I don't know. But is it necessarily because of a lack of money? Human beings are the only species on the planet that pay money to live here. Jeff, if you must not be a mom, obviously, a mother's work is never done, and more so working mothers. Okay, that was a good point. Human beings are the only ones who have to pay money to live here. But I don't know what her comment was about the mom thing. I would be interested to hear what that was. With universal basic income in Hawaii, you will see more Muslims and dirtbags. Okay, this is just, you know, those are the kind of comments that, you know, it goes both ways. You know, you got just anger coming out, right? Well, I got a so effing right, man. So I got one person calling me effing idiot, and I got another person calling me effing right, man. So I mean, it's definitely 50-50. We got Democrats and Republicans over here, I guess you could say, or we got who was in the Super Bowl this year? I don't even remember who was in the Super Bowl. We got Patriots fans over here, and we got Carolina Panthers fans over here. Oh man. I fully support universal basic income, and all the studies show that people have more purpose in their lives because they do what they want and not what they have to. I said, very interesting to hear. So as you can see, here's one. Geez, that's just funny. I'm going to masturbate all day and get paid. Woohoo. You know, he's making a mockery of the fact that he's going to have nothing else to do but sit around and, you know, do that silly, you know. But we're looking at it from some people are taking different approaches, right? So this is the golden age. Things are changing. Open your third eye. All is well. It's a very optimistic approach. You brought up a lot of good points. Don't forget that there's a correlation between the demand of AI to perform trivial tasks and the minimum wage laws, which force employers to pay low-skilled employees. So there's a lot of intelligent comments going on here, and this was one of my most commented videos. I read a lot of them, and I enjoyed reading them, obviously, except for when I would get called a bloomin' idiot, and you know, I brought it on myself. I put myself out there, right? I made the video, and you know, it's all good. Here's one. I'm not for UBI. I have not given this thought thought completion, but the only resort I would support UBI is if the community were to create sustainable options, needs, not wants, for themselves using UBI, thus retaking some of the power from the wealthy. I think a lot of people could agree with that. At the end of the day, people are disenfranchised with the income inequality on both sides of the spectrum. Me, I choose to. I could make a video literally that would be in support of UBI, and I could make a video that could be against UBI. But I'm all for meeting in the middle here, and I can see why. I mean, in a mass unemployment era, there's going to have to be a UBI. I'm saying though, I'd prefer there not to be an unemployment era. I think one thing that I did notice, a lot of the people who were for UBI tended to be younger people. I noticed that. I looked at some of these profiles, and I've looked on the internet. Younger people are more for UBI than the older generations. That's statistical. And I'm sure if you would have asked me when I was 22 if I wanted a UBI, I would have been like, yeah. Well, now I'm 34, and what am I saying? Hold the phone, right? So youth, the way you view things as a youth is going to be different than how you're going to view things as you continue to gain maturity and insight, right? So anyways, guys, this is my follow-up video to the universal basic income discussion. I know that I didn't really give too much additional insight other than just open up another conversation, really. So go ahead and drop a comment below. Thanks.